anything that has to do with knowledge retrieval, AI is going to win 10 out of 10 times.
What is your tip for a first-time AI founder to build a product that sells itself?
The best products in the world are recommended from one person to another. They don't have to have virality built in.
What happened in 2023 that helped you push your valuation to $1 billion? How do you pitch to a VC in 2025 if you're building an AI startup? Because this is a day and age where people can build without learning how to code.
Everyone is vying for attention and competing for attention. So what makes someone want to use your product over other products?
Why do you think Vinod Khosla invested in you? What should founders look for in this age of technology?
If you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work.
So if Krish Ramineni is envisioning the future 5 years from now, what is it going to look like?
You're going to have
So here we are with Krish Ramineni. Who does not know Fireflies AI? In the pandemic, a note taker like Fireflies.ai made me look cool. In my very first podcast, when I was asked what is my favorite app and who are the founders I would bet on, I said Krish Ramineni and Sam Udotong. Can you believe that Krish Ramineni is sitting here on my podcast set? And this is like 5 years later, and for me this is like a very surreal moment. So Serendipity is playing here, so I'm just gonna let loose and I'm gonna invite Krish. Krish, welcome to Ctrl Alt Podcast.
Thank you for having me, and I've listened to some of the past episodes and I'm very excited to be here.
Wonderful. So Krish, where are you coming from? You came in with a suitcase. Where are you flying out of?
I'm flying all over the place these days. I was in Austin, then I was in New York, I'm back here. So a lot of travel. Our team is fully distributed in 20 countries.
Yeah.
And my co-founder's in New York. So I'm coast to coast, overseas, London, everywhere. So it's been fun the last 2 years.
Wonderful. You know, there's another serendipitous moment which I feel is playing here today. Steve Jobs in the 1990s, I think he predicted what the future of workplace will be like. And he said that your software is going to talk to another person's software in an imaginary space, and we will not be meeting people. Here you are. Fireflies is very competitively positioned to create AI teammates. So tell us, what was Fireflies like when you started in 2016, almost coming out of AI winter? What are you guys doing now in 2025? Like, you're building AI humans who can talk to each other and then, they can just give me a dump of what they spoke to another AI human, right?
Yeah, you're taking me down memory lane. 2016, almost 10 years ago. I can't believe we've been working on Fireflies for a decade now. At the time, I had left Microsoft. I had gone to Boston to meet my co-founder, and we were just going to work on some projects for the summer.
So why did you pick him? I mean, Sam is amazing. I've seen his interviews, his energy, but tell me, why did you pick him?
Sam and I met through friends while we were in college, and we would work on different hackathons together. Fun fact, I had never seen Sam in person for 2 years before we ended up meeting. And we had worked on 3-4 different projects, hackathons together. We met through Google Meet. That's how we met online. And yeah, like, for all you know, Sam could have thought I was not a real person. I could have been AI and he could have been another person. When I had left Microsoft, I was doing a small talk at Penn for their entrepreneurship club. He took a bus down from MIT. That was the first time we met. So after 2 years, from 2014 to 2016, we never met. And then at the summer of 2016, I decided to leave Microsoft. I was going to go do grad school in the UK. I was going to go to Cambridge, and I had some free time. He said, why don't you come out to Boston? We have a place here. You can stay here, and we can hang out for the summer. So we were there. We were working every day. And at the end of the summer, he chose to not go to Stanford for grad school. I chose not to go to Cambridge. And we moved out to California to start Fireflies. And Fireflies has gone through so many iterations, so many different products. We just kept the name the same because we were too lazy to change it. But the early days, it was 6-7 different products, all around the same theme, which is there's a lot of knowledge buried inside conversation. So whenever we talk, there's so much information there. I had read somewhere that when we talk almost 4x or 5x more than we type. Yeah. So we said, let's capture all that conversation and then make sense of it. This was pre-Chat GPT.
Yeah.
All we had was natural language processing and LLMs. So that was the theme. I felt like we worked on some really cool products then that didn't take off, that today, with the technology that is there today, could really work. One was a Chrome extension, where anytime I'm messaging people, and if I made a promise, say, I'll send you the slides, or let's meet next Friday, it would automatically create a task manager for me and remind me, hey, you promised you were going to do this for this person. That was our first product. We applied to YC for it. We didn't get in, but they thought it was really cool. And the guy that wrote Gmail interviewed us, and the use case was around email at the time. So that was a really cool experience. Just the tech wasn't quite there, and it was a little too prosumer to build like a big product around there. So many different iterations. And then finally we said, let's take everything we've learned and then let's go do this for meetings, because that's where we spend half our time there. And by the time I leave a meeting room, I forget 50% of the information anyway. And back then it was not even about like creating a note taker. It was, how can we solve memory? And how can we give everyone perfect memory? And the goal of Fireflies was actually to build this like relationship manager where every person I talk to, if I meet you 6 months from now or 1 year from now, I want to be so well informed that I know everything that we spoke about. And then you'll be, wow, I'm so impressed. Like Krish knows everything. So let's build some AI that can remind us. That AI turned out to be Fireflies for meetings. And so that the rest is history. But the AI note taker was a byproduct of trying to build a system that could give you perfect memory.
Wonderful. I mean, so Krish, I have to hand it to you. You were agentic in 2016. The concept you applied to YC was about AI agents. So you're very well positioned to be a market disruptor that you are. So tell me, you have 3 billion meeting minutes to account for, and you have 20 million users, of which 16 million users are not acquired to marketing. This is just quiet, organic, word of mouth kind of promotion. What is your tip for a first-time AI founder to build a product that sells itself? How should they approach the problem?
Any great product, not speaking of Fireflies, but in general, the best products in the world are recommended from one person to another. They don't have to have virality built in.
Even if it's a B2B product.
Even if it's a B2B product, you end up getting your first 10 customers, they tell other people, and you build a mini brand, and that's how people hear about your product. So we had the advantage of great word of mouth, plus a viral loop in terms of Fireflies showing up to meetings. Everyone sees the little AI note taker tile, and then they associate that with Fireflies, and they want to get the notes afterwards. So we had both virality as well as word of mouth, which helped accelerate our growth. And till this year, we did not spend $1 on marketing.
Oh my
And
God.
the viral loop probably got us tens of millions of dollars worth of marketing. And we had a very generous and affordable free plan, which helped us get lots of customers through the gate. And even if the customer is not paying for it, every time they use it, they are marketing Fireflies on our behalf. And we were more than happy with that.
Wonderful. So build a product in such a way that the product usage itself is a marketing.
In an ideal world, or you look at great products like Google and ChatGPT, there's no virality built in internally, but they're so amazing. At the time when Google search came out, there was so many other search products, or ChatGPT, which is the fastest growing AI product of all time. It's so good, people will just talk about it. And even without a built-in viral loop, word of mouth is the best form of marketing. No other type of marketing can get you that.
Wonderful. You're called the 6th most purchased AI product, like probably the top 10. What are your competitors like? What do you really compete on? What keeps you up at night?
The evolution of the product also has changed with the market. When we first rolled out Fireflies, it was simply recording meetings and transcribing meetings. And then ChatGPT came out and OpenAI's APIs came out. All of a sudden, everything we promised accelerated 5 years in advance. And so now the AI could take human-like notes, short, crisp bullet point notes, paraphrase information. And we finally had that conviction 2 years ago that, hey, AI will eventually take better notes than a human will. And today, that is very much what many of our customers say. There's still going to be some people that say, I want to take notes myself. But for the majority of people, we are automating away 80 to 90% of mundane work. So that was the core product of Fireflies. But now you see a lot of people look at that and say, oh, I want to build an AI note taker too. And there's a lot of fast followers. Back then, it was a technologically very challenging problem, but today it's proven. So a lot of people can come into the market. So what we've done is take Fireflies to the next level, which is instead of just being a note taker, we want to build this into an AI teammate that works wherever you work, whether that's in your meetings, whether that's in Slack, whether that's before a meeting, it sends you a prep via email, whether that is writing up reports, analyzing your calls, creating scorecards, any sort of work that you have to do after you hit end on a call, Fireflies will do that for you now.
So it's turning very agentic. Is that right?
Agentic, we think the next level of agentic is actually teammates. So Fireflies will be a great teammate, whether you're a salesperson that needs like coaching and suggestions on a call, or a recruiter that wants to be able to filter through all the candidates that you've interviewed and stack rank them. Any sort of tasks. And we've been able to do that by turning Fireflies into a platform. And there are 200 plus AI applications on top of Fireflies. You can have Fireflies detect conflict in a meeting. It can tell you if someone is talking too much in a meeting. There are so many other soft skills that you would be able to do. Fireflies can also literally manage your project management and tell you what is like going to ship, what is going to be delayed. Any insight that you can pull from a meeting that a manager would have to do or a human would do, Fireflies will do that as a teammate.
You know, based on that, how is the memory structured? How do you create context for your application to act like a teammate? You know, they need to have some memory. And the first time I used Fireflies at a Stanford event, what happened was I missed this next meeting, which was scheduled. It was a periodic meeting. So the professor said, you didn't show up, but your meeting recorded everything. And she was like in cyber policing or something. I was in the policy group. I was writing a paper for the European GDPR. You know how GDPR is. And I'm like, this is a cool thing. She's like, no, it did not ask me permission. But then you cross the uncanny valley. You know, people are used to having note takers now. How do you cross that bridge now? Because we are headed to AGI and you have this teammate is listening to everything. So what are you going to do next to, you know, quieten those people who have complaining or not used to having an alien intelligence in a meeting?
Yeah, when we first started, there were so many people that would say, what is this AI note taker? I don't know if I feel comfortable with it. And then slowly it came over time. A lot of the detractors that would complain now say like, I can't live without Fireflies because it's so convenient. So we've been able to change the mindset of so many people. And then with our recent announcement, which is Talk to Fireflies, it's not just a silent assistant. You can actually talk to it, call on it during a meeting. I can say, hey, Fireflies, and then I can ask it questions. If I join a meeting late, I can ask it to catch me up on a meeting.
That's cool.
I can have it make tasks for me. I can have it go research information with our new Perplexity partnership.
Wow.
So you don't even have to switch to a new tab and ask questions. It can be doing market research for me while I'm on a call.
So this is Fred, Ask Fred? Is it Ask Fred or is it a different feature?
It's taking Ask Fred, but in real time in a live meeting. And you can just use voice commands to call on Fireflies during a call. Or you can use the chat window on the video conferencing provider.
Amazing.
And Fireflies will do it real time. Whatever Fred was doing, but in real time. And with that, now you're giving everyone a teammate that you can talk to. The other thing we're working on is having Fireflies guide and suggest to you proactively, because not everyone will feel comfortable talking to Fireflies in a meeting. But we have a real-time agent now that can send notes to you in real time, suggest things to you in real time.
Something like a Cluely, but it's not Cluely.
Yeah, it's very much, what I like to look at it is there's three pieces, right, of the puzzle for us. One is a teammate that you can interact with during a call, especially in team meetings. Another is a assistant, especially if I'm on a sales call, that's suggesting to me, coaching, guiding me. That's almost like cursor for meetings, like where it's always there, proactive. And the third is like fully autonomous AI, where Fireflies will go and take the call on my behalf. So that's the future we're heading towards. We're going to cover all cases, whether you want a silent note taker, AI that you can talk to, an AI that can coach you, or an AI that just goes and takes the meeting on your behalf. Especially when you have those back-to-back meetings today, I already have Fireflies go and take the notes, and I go and I say, I'm just going to go read the recap.
Yeah.
But it would be cool if it can go and, knowing everything I know, be able to interact on that meeting, especially for meetings like recruiting interviews, which are very repetitive.
Yeah.
Or certain types of like customer support calls or sales calls. That's the future we're heading towards.
Wonderful. So if Krish Ramineni is envisioning a future 5 years from now of the future of a large enterprise, what is it going to look like? Let's say Fireflies is the biggest player in the AI teammate or the note taker market. You've kind of become a dominant force. What will you do with that power? What kind of workplace will you envision? I know you're very big on wellness. You've boldly come out and talked about your productivity routines and what keeps you ticking. So what kind of workplace does Krish imagine 5 years from now with a lot of your product having traction?
Hopefully a place where you don't have to attend a lot of meetings. So your Fireflies and my Fireflies will go have the meeting and then come back with next steps, and then we sign off on them. That will be a great future where you're going to have hundreds of AI agents, Fireflies and other agents that are doing 80% of the mundane work that you have to do day to day. And then you literally have a lot more freedom. I feel that every person is going to have to learn to manage AI.
Yeah.
It's like having dozens of interns.
Yeah.
And then eventually AI that's really smart.
Yeah.
I also am a big believer that in the next 2 years, every AI will be smarter than a PhD. And that's not coming from me, that's coming from the CEO of Anthropic, Dario, that in every subject, AI will be smarter than a PhD. And when you have the power of a
PhD,
$99 subscription to a PhD 24/7 all the time, working everywhere, I think it's going to allow people to do more creative work. So I'm a genuine believer in that. Outside of tech, I think AI is going to be absolutely transformational in healthcare. I read recently that the third leading cause of death is actually misdiagnosis. And 1 in 5 diagnoses by even the top experts is incorrect. A lot of times people will go in with symptoms, they don't know what the cause is. And with AI in healthcare, I think one, it's going to be incredibly affordable. Imagine having a $1 AI doctor, a specialist in your pocket that you can ask any question to. An AI lawyer, an AI financial advisor.
AI patent officer. You don't have to pay.
So many of these things. So for me, I think healthcare is a really transformative place.
Yeah, I mean, what I feel is, we interact with doctors in person, but you have the capacity to look at the script of the symptoms, or maybe they can talk to your note taker, and the note taker can talk to the AI's note taker or the teammates, and then they can decide between themselves and save time that the doctor has to spend with the patient, right?
I've been to a doctor's appointment where the doctor literally Google searched certain things, and I'm sure many people have had that experience.
Yeah.
So we have Fireflies for healthcare as a solution today that's HIPAA compliant.
Right? Yeah.
Right now it's doing medical transcription and scribing and notes for doctors.
Yeah.
But I could see a future where as the doctor is focused on the patient, it can go pull up research, the latest information, and then start suggesting things that might be relevant to the diagnosis that's happening. It's not going to replace the doctor, but it can get the doctor to be fully informed and up to date. That I think will be really powerful, because I have a lot of doctors in my family, and a lot of the things that they practice are from 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
And they have to keep updating themselves on the latest medical research, but not many people are doing that. So when you're treating the same symptoms the same way that solved that like 10 years ago, versus there's new medicines, new techniques, that's where I think it's going to be really good, is forget replacing doctors, but just making doctors way smarter. You have the power of like this PhD researcher in real time in a clinical setting while you're talking to a patient. I think that's a place where even Fireflies could be of help.
It just blows my mind. Okay, talking of all the serendipitous things that are happening to us today, my last real job was at Curious Medical Publishing. It was open access publishing. I worked for a Stanford neurosurgeon. His vision was, if the doctor finds something new in his medical research on the bedside, it needs to be published within 3 weeks. So another practitioner doctor gets the latest insight without having to wait for 8-month publication cycles. So we were disruptors in open access publishing. with the exact same vision which you just articulated. So we did not have AI back then when we started this. This was, I think, 10 years ago. But there are doctors who envision what you're saying 10 years ago. They're like, I wish there was someone who could update me with research, which is not Google search. So yeah, that's a good use case. Have you thought about how you'll validate the so something called scholarly quotient, which makes research credible versus a Google search query? So have you thought about putting a scholarly quotient to your research?
Yeah, honestly, we're going with this on the fly here, but in general, anything that has to do with knowledge retrieval, AI is going to win 10 out of 10 times. AI in 1 hour can read more books than we will in 10 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Right? So if anything comes to pure reading comprehension, knowledge retrieval, not just in the enterprise, like you have really powerful products like Glean that can do knowledge retrieval across all your documents and files, or Fireflies that's doing knowledge retrieval across all of your meetings.
Yeah.
But you apply that now to healthcare records, you apply that to legal. Yeah. There's so much that you can do. So we would love to work with these AI solutions that are doing that retrieval, similar to how we partner with Perplexity, and Perplexity's mastered the web research piece.
So you're saying that during the meetings, your app talks to Perplexity, which does real-time web research. Obviously, Perplexity has credible sources, and then it comes back to the person in the meeting, tells them what to do next, or what they could do next. And you don't even have to
call on Perplexity. Fireflies will decide if, should I give this task to Perplexity? Should I give this task to Devin, the AI coder? So I can see so many use cases, even in the work context, where let's say people are sharing their screen and they're coding, and they're stuck on something. Fireflies can see the screen, go call on Devin, go call on Cursor, and help you in real time during that meeting. Yeah. Or we're having a design discussion and Figma releases their MCP or AI protocol, and Firefly says, let me go ask Figma to come up with another variation of the design, or Canva. So anything that will require a human to use AI tools, Fireflies can use those AI tools on your behalf, either through MCP or through some integration. So Fireflies, in theory, should be able to know how to code, know how to design, know how to do web research. And in the context of the meeting, it can be really helpful. So in healthcare, if there is a healthcare knowledge base that has been vetted, peer reviewed, and they have an API or MCP, Fireflies can pull on that and help the doctor in real time. That's something that would be
So
really
you're
helpful.
like the Jarvis for, in the Iron Man. I can talk to you and you'll do anything for me. Is that right?
That's the goal, because we're spending 70% of time in meetings, and that's where most of the work originates. So if we can actually have a really great AI during live meetings, I think that would be very powerful.
Or even talking to yourself. I'm learning something that it's also is a meeting with yourself, but you're researching something. So then you talk to your screen and ask how you're doing. Is that right? Because a ChatGPT interaction is basically, I'm talking to myself with the resources through ChatGPT. So we can do that with Fireflies too? Is that what you're saying?
I had my marketing team upload all of the podcasts I've ever done. And whenever they write new articles or blogs or any sort of content, they refer to Ask Fred, and they ask Fred about what would Krish say on a podcast about this topic, and then they would reframe it and rephrase it. Yeah.
Amazing. So you kind of have a knowledge graph kind of thing going on. Wonderful. So Krish, let's go back to your journey. Here you are valued at 1 billion, and 2023 was an inflection point. What happened in 2023? I know you had $15 million in funding. You did not spend it on marketing. You've been very wise. So what happened in 2023 that helped you push your valuation to 1 billion?
Well, if we go back a little bit more in time, 2022 was when Vinod Khosla introduced me to Sam Altman. We got early access to the GPT API. We started.
Why did he do that? Or why did you ask for that?
I didn't even ask. I was telling him about a problem we were solving. Vinod happened to be one of the first investors in OpenAI.
Yep.
And I told him about what we're trying to solve. And we wanted to get early access to the GPT API at the time. And we started using that. I got connected to the executive team at OpenAI. We've been working with them ever since. They've been very proactive. And we ended up taking our product, which was really good at transcribing, recording, to now all of a sudden the outputs looked very human-like.
Yeah.
And earlier, it was cost was an issue.
I've seen that transition. It used to bother me. Why is the transcription so bad? Because I was a cool guy or girl using Fireflies, and why is my transcription so bad? I had that problem, and suddenly it went away.
Yeah.
So I've
not
seen
only
that,
transcripts, but also the notes, like where it can work on accents.
Yeah.
100 different languages right now. It can work in noisy environments. We have a mobile app for in-person meetings.
Yeah.
So all those little iterations over time. Today, we don't get complaints about the quality of the transcription. In 2020, that was all people cared about was
Yeah.
why is the transcript not perfect? It was like around 80%.
Yeah.
Now it's 95% plus
Yep.
in even like bad audio environments.
Yeah.
And then you have GPT, which can take all that and actually give you very curated, personalized notes.
Yeah.
And the notes get personalized based on what you like and what
Yeah.
your preferences are.
Yeah.
So all of that happened in 2023. And in like a 2-month period, we made improvements to the product that we had not seen in 2 years. And things started to accelerate, and we started getting featured and people started subscribing. That's also when around 2024, when Ramp came out with these reports, what are the top 5 most purchased products? It was ChatGPT, Anthropic,
Wow.
and Fireflies.
Wonderful.
So that really like unlocked a lot of growth for us.
Wonderful. Where is your highest point of impact in an organization? Which part of the organizational cog in the wheel are you moving right now?
We have a lot of success, whether it's departments inside large organizations or mid-market SMB companies.
Yeah.
And we did a little bit of analysis, and we found that usually the founder exec level decision is made, especially at SMBs, and then they roll it out to everyone.
Yeah.
And usually when the founder or CEO is a huge fan of Fireflies,
Yeah.
the rest of the team adopts it.
Yeah.
We've also had bottoms up adoption in other organizations where an individual sales rep will be using Fireflies.
Yeah.
And then the product manager will be like, I don't want to build this feature right now.
Yeah.
And then the salesperson says, give me 1 minute, goes and clips the soundbite from Fireflies. We have a clipping feature, and then shares it, what the customer said, and says, don't take my word for it, take what the customer has to say.
Amazing.
And now the PM is very well in tune using Fireflies. So when I look at an organization, a lot of the times you're moving slowly because of miscommunication or lack of
Exactly.
context.
Exactly.
And that's a bridge that Fireflies is able to fill. And when you can bring your PMs and engineers closer to the voice of the customer,
Yeah.
or you can bring your hiring managers closer to what the recruiters are having with the right candidates.
Like create an alignment, organizational alignment.
Yeah.
You know, what is the pitch, and then you align with that, right?
And so you can actually go to the source of truth,
Source
the
of
voice
truth.
of the customer,
Yep.
the voice of your candidates,
Yep.
the voice of your colleagues,
Yep.
which then forms the voice of your company.
Yeah.
I used to, when I was applying for different jobs back in the day, it would be so funny that every person in that interview circuit would ask me the same questions.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, did you guys not coordinate? And you're asking the same things over and over again. But with Fireflies, my HR person will now send me the recap. And now I know what other things to ask. That I can even ask Fred to tell me, what did the recruiter cover
Yes.
that has not been covered?
Yeah.
And how can I ask the different questions?
You know, another very bugging, repetitive use cases when you get on customer service calls, you have to give your information every single time the call gets transferred. And if my name is Vida Patil, like a long name, so I have to go letter by letter to spell my name,
Yeah.
and then my date of birth and my social, and then they transfer me to another department, and then I repeat the same information. And this is a use case where if the voice is transcribed, then it's going to save me, like, some calls run like 90 minutes. So this is a call center problem. I don't know if call center is a boring problem, but
It's a big use case. So we don't build contact center software, but we built our own internal CS automation system that
Yeah.
now has automated 70% of our support tickets. Last year, we could automate 30% of our support tickets. Now we do 70%. And we've been able to do it without increasing our support team.
you mean like a Zendesk thing? Like a Zendesk
like
kinda-
Finn from Intercom, but
Finn
we
from-
built our own internal product that leverages our own knowledge base.
Yeah.
And we're able to automate not just like product inquiry questions, but
Yeah.
like refunds or questions around debugging.
Yeah.
Fireflies will go and do those tasks for you.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so so Krish, so much about Fireflies. A little bit about your hacks into being a founding AI engineer, and engineer turned salesperson turned Now you're like the poster child for the American dream for a lot of youth. I want to ask you some questions about how you did this. Just being here, co-founding a $1 billion startup. You're a shy person, and then you said you don't like meetings. I mean, this is completely counter to what your public persona is. So how did you cross the bridge? Personality revamp. How did you go through that journey? I know it's not easy. You pivoted so many times. It must be pretty arduous. So how did you work on yourself so that other founders can learn from?
I find it interesting you asked this question because I've never gone to a formal training class, no
Yeah.
professional management, no MBA. Everything has just been organic. And a lot of it has been learned through hard experiences with people. I was 21 managing people in their 50s. So I had no idea.
Oh, you did that.
Some of our earliest hires, and even our
How did you hire people? You were so young. And then in 2 years, you bootstrapped. 16 to 18 must be hard. You worked with ideas which failed. The technology was not keeping up. How did you learn to hire?
I think you make a lot of mistakes. You make some bad hires. But it's really about the gut feeling when you talk to a person. I've interviewed thousands of people where you now know, okay, this feels right, this doesn't feel right. And now I'm 8 out of 10. Before, maybe I was 5 out of 10 at like judging a person and like their behavior and what they're going to be able to do. Now we have a really good sense, and you can tell someone is really smart within just 10 minutes. You don't need like years and years of stuff. But there are some people that are very good at doing well on the interviews, but maybe not able to do well in real life. So we have this thing called trial by fire at Fireflies. And within that first 3 months, we have checkpoints to see if we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us. But I think the team is everything, and the people that you bring on. What I've found is I'm very unconventional in terms of my approach. I don't like small talk. I don't do one-on-one meetings. I have very few
one-on-one meetings.
I have very few recurring meetings on my calendar. I think the ultimate freedom is like having an empty calendar. That's a status symbol if you can get to that. For me, most of like the time I am trying to actually focus on like, what are we trying to solve? And we don't do career management, people management in that sort of sense. If you're really smart and you're really good at solving hard problems, you'll see that reflected in your bonus. You'll see that reflected in your career growth. And naturally, you'll get more responsibility, and then your career will grow as well. And for those that want a more structured 9-to-5 corporate ladder environment, Fireflies isn't the place for that. We're a small startup. I have 40 plus direct reports, and we just don't think about management. We don't like middle management. We have no managers at Fireflies. It's a very flat org. Beside like the few people on the exec team, everything is flat, and everyone that works at Fireflies can go straight to the skip, or I can go straight to the ICs. There is no like hierarchy where you can't talk to Krish without talking to your VP. It's not like that at Fireflies.
I love that. I think large organizations who want to operate like startups, there's this new fad, founder mode, in large companies like Cisco and the likes of them. They are going through this transformation to get AI into their system because they're mammoth organizations. So they are adopting founder mode where the CEO is scrappy. They hire people who think scrappy. So I wish to learn from somebody like you how to run a flat. I think, touch wood, I hope you set the bar for how to run an organization to get the best out of everyone.
It definitely gets harder as the team grows. So we do everything in our power to keep it small.
But you can always have a way to decentralize control, right? I mean, give autonomy to the groups locally and still not have. Oh, that's another discussion.
I think I'm not the best example of that because I'm involved in everything and I know everything that's going on. But it also creates a little bit of like, I know everything from the code change that's going on.
You read all the customer support tickets. I sent you a ticket in 2021.
Wow. Yeah.
And then when I got a complaint from Stanford because it was so early, I sent you a ticket. You replied.
I usually
within half an hour you replied. I'm like, wow.
That's great. I was answering all tickets till like 2021, and then we had a team, and I still was reading all the tickets. Now I still look at every single support feedback, NPS score, feature request that people have put in. And I think recently someone said, no way this is Krish responding. Must be an AI bot.
Bot of
Like,
Krish.
are you impersonating Krish? But yes, so I read all that information. We're super customer obsessed, and
It's a tough business, I remember. I had cancelled your subscription and then I came back. So I remember why I cancelled when someone called out privacy issues. You should talk about the privacy concerns people raise and what you're doing on the interview.
Yeah, well, one of the things is we've rolled out several core changes. One is we don't train on your data by default. We have access controls and
how do you manage to... So how do you train on the wisdom without training on the data?
Yeah, so we realized the models were good enough out of the box where for the majority of users, we don't need to train by default. I think fine-tuning is not necessary for what we were trying to do. But if a certain customer wants personalization or customization, we can enable it on a per account basis. We also introduced this thing called private storage. I believe we're the only ones in the industry that was doing this, where you can store your data on your own servers or on your own storage containers.
Amazing.
And CIOs love that. They absolutely love that. And we've also created access controls, robust admin capabilities where managers can make certain meetings private. They can put them in certain channels.
Yeah.
We've recently introduced transcript and notes only mode where the audio won't be saved, especially in compliance sensitive organizations where they don't want that. It'll only store the notes and transcripts. We also have data retention policies where if you want the data wiped after 30 days, after 15 days, we have that. So ever since we launched our enterprise tier with the HIPAA compliance and private storage, that's worked really, really well.
Wonderful. So Krish, I know you're a busy man. I have to let you go. I could talk to you forever. We have a lot of things in common. One question I get from I work with a lot of founders. In fact, many of them got funded by YC. Some of them got rejected. How do you pitch to a VC in 2025 if you're building an AI startup? Because this is a day and age where people can build without learning how to code. So who would you put your money on? And you pitched to Vinod Khosla. What was your pitch like? And today, if you were to put your money on, what kind of founders would you bet on?
I think people can be so much more resourceful today than even when we were starting.
Yep.
It's much easier to put code out. It's much easier to launch, much easier to go market a product, get to a couple $1 million of revenue without even having to use capital. And I'm seeing so many companies where it's just 2-3 people where they're getting their first $1 million, $2 million of revenue.
Yep.
I think though, in the AI hype cycle, when people can make revenue really quickly, the faster it can come, the faster it can go. Good times don't last. And I'm always someone that would be a little bit more cautious or paranoid about how fast you're growing. What is the quality of revenue? Will those customers stick around a year from now? So when I look at a product, when I look at their revenue and look at their metrics, I want to look at, is this going to be defensible in the long run? Or is it like a hype cycle sort of thing? So that's something a lot of seed and early stage investors are going to be looking at. The other thing is everyone is vying for attention and competing for attention. So what makes someone want to use your product over other products? And there are hundreds of AI SaaS tools today. There's an overload. I myself can't keep up with everything. I don't know where the average knowledge worker would be able to. So how do you stand out and make your product sticky and not replaceable? Like, is there some unique workflow that only you're able to do that creates great lock-in effect? So as a founder, if you're able to answer these questions, you've gotten some revenue and you're profitable, my suggestion is don't raise. Like, build an amazing business. I have so much respect for bootstrapped founders, and I'm all in for create an incredible business. Just recently, someone built a business to $2 million in revenue, sold it for $80 million, fully bootstrapped within 6 months.
Wow.
And I saw that on LinkedIn. I think that's a great outcome. That person is probably going to have a better return than someone that sells a business for $2 to $3 billion and who's given up most of their business to venture capital. When you're profitable, you as the founder, you as the team are in control. And when you are burning money, you have to go out every 6 months, every 12 months and raise capital. So determine if you need a lot of capital or not. And when you do raise, maybe realize, like, what do I need this capital for? How far can I go with it? Eventually, you need to get to a place where can I be sustainable if I'm never able to raise money again?
Yeah.
So after our seed round and our Series A, that was the first question we had was, can we be successful without ever raising money again and still keep growing fast?
So why do you think Vinod Khosla invested in you?
You'll have to ask him. We definitely believed in this bigger vision, like a moonshot approach
He's
at the time.
He's a moonshot thinker.
He is definitely...
2019, and he was talking about bipedal robots. He's the first person who went out openly and talked. I just got off a podcast with a robotics scientist at Stanford, and he's talking about physical AI. He saw it coming so early. Since 2012, he's been talking.
There was no AI note taker in 2019, 2020.
Yep.
And Fireflies, I would like to say, pioneered that market as a whole. And they did take a bet on it. He was not worried about the technology not being good, because every investor I would talk to is like, the transcription's off here. Like, can you actually scale this? Can you actually build bots? And he never doubted on the technology part. I think he really believed that young founders will be able to do great work. The other thing is, most of the people would be asking, how many PhDs do you have in your business? And Vinod's mindset is, hey, people that are not even domain experts are going to be able to solve this. You don't need to be an expert. Someone from somewhere else is going to come and make a difference.
Yeah.
And that was something that was very motivating for us. And he's had some hot takes in recent times. He says that 80% of all work is going to be automated by 2030.
Yeah.
And then by 2040, most manual labor is going to be done by robots.
Yeah, the need to work will go away is what also he said. Yeah.
Will humans need a job, or will jobs actually require humans? That's a question that he has. But yeah, they took a bigger bet on the technology at the time, because back then it was all about proving the technology.
Yeah.
And all of this other stuff is after the fact, right? Like ChatGPT wouldn't be amazing if we didn't have LLMs.
Yeah.
And so we had to prove out the technology in 2020, 2021, and we had to move fast. So I know when I look at Fireflies back then, and even if I look at Fireflies now, we made so much progress, but all I will see is, oh, this can be improved, this can be improved. So this is the founder mindset, is you're always looking to make things better.
Yeah.
And so whenever I get feedback, that's like that urge to like fix things all the time.
Yes.
So
you forget how far you've come.
Yeah.
You forget all the hype cycles you saw, and the booms and the busts.
Yeah.
2 questions I must ask before I let you go. This is another serendipitous moment. Ctrl Alt Podcast was meant to bring tech billionaires or people who are rebooting technology in Silicon Valley. Here I'm sitting with you. You're the first person to have launched AI note taker in the pandemic, backed by Vinod Khosla. So you fit right in. You're the pioneer in the note taking industry. So please take credit for that. And the second thing is, you talk so much about productivity. What's your advice to people? What keeps you ticking? You don't drink coffee, I know that, but what gets you going? Just got off a flight, you're sitting here, you're dazzling us away here, everyone here. So what keeps you going? What should founders look for in this age of technology?
Yeah, I think if you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work, really. And I always felt like I wasn't meant for this 9-to-5 lifestyle. I'd work 100 hours for myself rather than like be doing a repetitive, boring thing. So since I was a kid, I was always like looking at, how do I automate this or figure out a way to do this so I don't have to do the same thing over and over again. And yeah, I don't have any particular productivity hacks, but what I'll say is everyone has a different way of doing things. Some people will, this is the thing, right? You'll go on Instagram or LinkedIn and someone talks about their morning ritual. They wake up at 6 a.m. and they do yoga and they do all that stuff. I wake up at 9 or 10 a.m. because I'm up till 2 a.m. and I'm a night owl. So different things work for different people. And what's more important is like, can you work on something for long periods of time? Whether that's punching you in the face or whether it's like working one day or not working one day. Because the amount of time you have to actually give it before you see any sort of result, it takes a long time. And I just genuinely think that, are you hungry? Are you willing to compete? And I don't consider myself some incredibly smart, genius, savant, not one of those AI researchers poached by Meta. I was just able to keep showing up. And there's this really famous quote that, luck is like chasing the bus. You have to keep showing up to the bus stop. You're going to miss it a couple of days, but if you don't show up, you'll never catch the bus. But at least if you show up. So for Fireflies, we were at the right place at the right time. because even after 7 failures, we said, let's just give it one more shot.
Yeah.
And that one more shot turned out to be pandemic, note taker, LLMs, speech. All those things came together in a moment. But if we had given up a year prior, we wouldn't be here today.
7 pivots and you hit this amazing tide, which launches you as one of the pioneers in the note-taking industry. It's been such an honor spending the last hour with you. Thank you so much for joining us on Ctrl Alt Podcast. Love to have you back, and I'd love to work with you.
Thank you. No, this is really nice to hear, because when we started, we didn't know what we were doing, and nothing was inevitable. Yeah. So it's great to see that like people are using Fireflies like yourself, and I'm glad we could help bring that out to the world for so many people.
Wonderful. Thanks, Krish.
Thank you. So much.